very well known. And as he was president for years, his campaign very effectively on behalf of Eisenhower. And he's also known as an excellent debater. I feel that he won his House and his Senate seats for the state of California because he was such an effective debater against his competitors. So he is the favorite going into this. Kennedy's not quite as well known, but Kennedy's team feels that he is a very effective debater on his own, very good with words, and is very good on conveying his message. One thing Kennedy's team understands is that because the debate's going to be on television, there are more factors to consider than just the questions and the answers. There's the environment inside the studio. There's the lighting, there's the heat from the lights, there's sort of the background coloring. In this case, it's black and white, so I don't get that so much. There's multiple television cameras. There's a camera behind the panel that's asking the questions, and when you answer, you're going to look out into the viewing audience and make an answer to a second camera. So there's multiple cameras. Kennedy's team works with him for about 2 weeks, getting him used to the logistics, the questions and answers, but the logistics and the environment inside the studio. Nixon, probably because he was such a good debater, did not prepare him quite the same way, but instead he decided to fulfill a campaign promise to campaign in all 50 states. So up to the day before the debate starts, he's actually out on the road doing campaign appearances. Long days, lots of speeches. He's pretty tired. A week or so before this, he's actually spent an overnight.
I think in the final analysis, and what we defeat, I think it's time America started moving again.
As he gets out of the car and goes into the debate, he bangs
Now the opening statement by House President Richard M. Nixon.
The things that Senator Kennedy has said, many of us can agree with.
So,
There is no question but that we cannot discuss our internal affairs in the United States without recognizing that they have a tremendous bearing on our international position. There is no question but that this nation cannot stand still. Let's put it in terms that all of us can understand.
Sort of uncomfortable. And when you watch him, his eyes sort of flick between Kennedy and the people asking the questions and the television cameras. It just doesn't look very comfortable. And before he goes in, his team tries to put in fear makeup on him to help him. And he doesn't want any part of it. So he goes in, and as the debate unfolds, his 5 o'clock shadow, which is always a problem in his face, he starts to perspire. He just doesn't look so much in control of his answers. So consequently, when they end the debate, there's some 2/3 of the voting population actually watching. And even though there's 3 other debates after this, this is the debate everyone remembers. When they exit the debate, the Harris Polling Corporation has a letter in this.
Next question to Senator Kennedy from Mr. Novitz.
You call for expanding some of the welfare programs for schools, for teacher salaries, medical care, and so forth, but you also call for reducing the
So take a look at when you're set and go across the hall.
if you're president.
I look at.
Yeah, me too.
And that's why everybody's afraid that Biden's going to lose because of this.
Yeah, this one's-
Because of all of this history. That's why they're all calling for him. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you for joining my live. I'm here at the John F. Kennedy Museum, Library and Museum. As you join, please double tap your screen to like the live.
As this report in this hour, just a few moments ago, I talked with the state Democratic chairman in San Francisco, Mr. Roger Kemp, and he said that California is as safe as a church. Those are the words he used, safe as a church.
November 1960. The video footage is the 3 major television networks. All headquartered out of the New York metropolitan area, so it's kind of a New York central focus on the tallying the votes. Kennedy only wins by 118,000 closest election. So the percentage basis, Kennedy wins 49.5%. There's no particular mandate for notice that, right? He's able to do this victory that allows him to be able to do whatever he wants once he gets into office. And he's very slow on a lot of issues. Changes things around. He does, however, do much more than of electoral victory. So, as before you exit, take a look at the map of the United States on the electoral tally by state, the electoral votes that
Hey, Stacy.
red is Republican states that went for Nixon, blue are the Democratic
Welcome
states.
in. How are you?
Well, if you take a look at those, at the electoral map as it looks then, versus how it might look today, is there anything to catch your eye?
The red and blue.
Red and blue, so.
The red state and the blue state. No, what changed?
Blue states,
New York is still blue, red state. New York is still blue.
more states than Canada does now. So that's.
No more electoral. Hey Stacy, how are you? This is in Boston, JFK's Museum and Library. Yeah, we're still doing the museum tours. This is how the TV studios looked back then. When Kennedy and Nixon was running for president, and how Kennedy won.
So for this particular one,
welcome in everyone. Thank you for joining my live. As you join, remember to double tap the screen to like the live. I'm here at the JFK Museum and Library. Yes, I'm doing a whole museum tour while I'm here.
in the South, to a large extent, is Lyndon Johnson is a Southern Democrat from Texas. So he is in the vernacular of the day a Southern Democrat. And he's able to go through the South, incredibly meet
How are you doing?
leaders and voters and convince them that Kennedy is not going to do anything dramatic to change the laws in the South and change the way of life in the South. And so consequently, he gets the deep South in effect as the vote. Now that changes by the time Johnson because the Civil Rights Act passes and then.
Hi, I see 3 people viewing. Welcome in. Thank you for joining my live. As you join, double tap your screen.
In the next election, Goldwater wins all of those southern states.
Even though they're far more red state now, the electoral vote
So it did. It was based on population, right? They allocate electoral votes based on the population. So if you notice, for example, Florida doesn't look particularly large. It's a much larger state now. The Northeast was much larger then than it is now. Right? So Massachusetts looks much larger than it is probably today for its electorate.
So let me ask you a question. So now, you said back then they were more important to the popularity vote in order to decide the presidential candidate. Now we're more important to the electoral vote. I've never been to Boston. I hope to visit one day. Yes, you should come. Boston is beautiful. There's so much history here. When it comes to American history of slavery, colonialism, the whole thing. So yeah, for sure, Stacy, you should definitely come one day. You'll enjoy it.
The number of electoral votes
Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
So the census every 10 years helps determine how many people are in the state and how many electoral votes. But the actual revenue
tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient heritage, and unwilling to witness or permit the slow ongoing of those human rights to which this station has always been committed, and to which we are committed today at home and around the world.
Oh, you did the Washington, D.C., Stacy? Yes, I've done that one too. It's really good. Did you go to the African American Museum?
That we shall pay any price, bear any burden,
Welcome in, everyone. Thank you for joining my live. As you join, remember to double tap your screen to like the live and just enjoy, and also subscribe. Hit that subscribe button.
this much we pledge and more. To those old allies whose cultural and spiritual origin we share, we pledge loyalty to the nation state. United
You want a picture over there? Let me.
My kingdom is so bright. If that's a picture of me.
Hi, Bess. Thank you for joining my live. Welcome. How are you? Thank you, Bess. Sorry, hold on for a second, you guys.
governments of France, United Kingdom, and the United States. East Berlin and East Germany are allocated and managed now by the communist-based government of the Soviet Union. By the time Kennedy gets office, because there is a treaty that allows for the free flow of people in the city of Berlin through all the partitions, there has been some 2.5 million citizens from East Germany have been able to get through East Berlin into West Berlin, and once they're in West Berlin, they are able to get to West Germany and escape the East German government. There's a big economic drain and a big population drain on that government. 15% of the East German population has escaped by the time Kennedy takes office. It's a huge embarrassment, and the government in East Germany spends a great deal of time lobbying Nikita Khrushchev to do something about this. So from the time Kennedy and Khrushchev meet for the first time in Vienna in June of 1961, Kennedy wants to go in and talk about the spread of nuclear weapons, and all Nikita Khrushchev wants to do is talk about what to do. So there is this battle that's taking place between the two. And just as a reminder, the Berlin Wall was actually built again in John Kennedy's first term in August of 1960. So before we leave, take a look at the video up here is around press conferences, presidential press conferences. Kennedy's the first president to do televised press conferences, starting 5 days after he takes office. So the tradition had always been the orders to go to the office and they interview the president.
Welcome in, everyone. Thank you for joining my live. How are you? And where are you viewing from? I am at the JFK, John F. Kennedy Presidential Library and Museum.
I'm sure we haven't done enough.
Sorry about the frozen and blurry screen. I hope you're seeing it clearly now, Bess.
I must say, I am a strong believer in
We were taking pictures, that's why you weren't able to see me at the time.
sort of do that we're doing. I'm glad that you reminded me of it.
So intellectually, he's very smart.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining my live. As you join, double tap your screen to like the live. We are here at the JFK's Library and Museum here in Boston.
I think probably he's accurate. The fact of the matter is, this is not that obvious. You can take the temperature every week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending on what the newspaper headline must be. I think you must make a judgment about the movement of the great historical event which has taken place in this country after a period of time. Judged in 1863, after a good many years, its full effect. I think we will stand on after a period of time as going by. The fact is that same poll showed 40% or so thought it was more or less right. I thought that was rather impressive because it is change. Change always disturbs. And if
Where's Sister Pat?
All right, history test. 1957. Soviet Union. Sputnik.
Sputnik, yeah, I heard about it.
Sputnik caused quite a sensation. There was actually a Sputnik crisis in the West. Particularly the Soviet Union and the communist-based governments were ahead of the United States and the Western countries in building spacecraft that launch really is the 3 main programs that Kennedy had to review and help get budget for from the 1960s, starting with the original Mercury 7 astronauts going to the Gemini program, which tested mostly technology, to the Apollo landing, and the moon landing actually took place in 1969. And we reviewed the plans around all. So take a look around all of these.
Welcome in, everyone. Thank you for joining. I see 4 people viewing. Thank you for joining me on my live. You could be anywhere in the YouTube streets, but you chose to be here. Thank you. I'm here at the JFK Kennedy's Library and Museum. We are learning all about JFK today. I'm still here in Boston. And yeah.
Space travel is really only about 15 minutes long. So this was not quite as impressive. But he's the first. We used to have his capsule in this exhibit. So he's from New Hampshire, so there's kind of a local connection. But his capsule looked like this one over here in this picture. That happens to be John Glenn. And then this one over here is the inside of his capsule. So you get a chance to see how incredible the capsule is.
In the last 24 hours, we have seen facilities now being created for the greatest and most complex exploration in man's history. We have felt the ground shake.
She's like, I'm bored. I'm like,
History.
you're not hungry. You're not hungry. You just had breakfast.
At 8 o'clock, what time is it now?
I'm running.
11, almost lunchtime.
What's this? Thank you. Oh, sorry.
I'm going through it faster. No, I don't think it's been that one.
I think it makes them all Americans proud, make them all appreciate.
All right, very quickly, this exhibit is around the Peace Corps. So the Peace Corps is Kennedy's first legislative initiative, started by executive order in March of 1961. So he made the announcement. It wasn't until the end of 1961 that Congress approved the budget and set it up as an actual program of the federal government. The first director of the Peace Corps was Sergeant Schreiber, President Kennedy's permanent. there was a story about Sergeant Shriver when he first got there, reported on the first day. There was no Peace Corps, and so he goes into gets to the security desk at the White House, and he can't get it. They don't know who the Peace Corps is, they don't know who it is. And so after quite a bit of back and forth, they eventually have to call somebody from the White House staff to come down and let him in. And then he gets into it, they put him in a conference room, and he realizes that he needs things to run this office. He needs pads and paper.
Hi, Keisha. Welcome in. Thank you for joining my live. Happy Monday. I'm here in Boston. I am at the JFK's Library and Museum. Yes, so we're getting a little bit of history today. Thank you for liking. Appreciate you. Yeah, so we're on a tour and we are getting a little history of John F. Kennedy's life and how he got elected, his early childhood, and
Castro takes over control of Cuba. The Eisenhower administration starts training as an expatriate.
yeah, I love his museums and so on. So yeah, we're here on a 3 tour of Boston. I'm learning. Boston has much history. I am learning so much while here for the couple days. Interesting. Everything is interesting. Everything is mine. Everything. I didn't know about all the history that Boston has, and I'm so glad I came. Yeah. And even with slavery, oh, welcome in. See 7 people viewing. As you join, just remember to double tap the screen. If you like what you're seeing, you can go ahead and subscribe and come back for more. Yeah. Oh, it is back now. Thank you. So we're doing a guided tour and a self-guided tour. But most of the times I am away I don't want to get people on camera. So when I do see the tour guide by himself, I try to go closer. But for the most part, I am doing a self-guided tour. Yeah. Yes, you should. There is so much history here. We've been to the African American Museum as well. That was amazing. That was yesterday. That's also live on my channel if you want to go check that out. Yeah. And then we went to the Navy base, USS Navy base, the day before. That was a Saturday. That was Saturday, yeah. So we're here for the weekend and a day. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Pretty cool. It's beautiful here too. Boston is beautiful. It's very clean.
After that is when Castro then turns restrictive system. I need more military and more financial support in order to meet the protect ourselves against these. So for the next year and about a half, October of 1962, is when the military and military equipment manufacturing. And that's kind of where this talks a little bit about that, what they discovered.
Oh, Keisha, you're still in bed, out and about for the past 2 hours now. Yeah, that was me a couple of days ago when I took off. So we're heading into this theater now, and we're gonna learn a little bit more. Ay, boy. Hello. Okay. No, but you had a late live last night, so I guess. You had a okay. Thank you, Keisha. Hey, Bess. Thank you for still being here.
Medium range ballistic missile launch site and 2 new military encampments. How do you know this is a medium range ballistic missile? What is the, there must be some major reason for the Russians to set this up. Well, they project they have in mind and double the substantial superiority. They also know that we don't really live on the fear of his nuclear weapons to the extent that he has to live on the fear of ours. So we have weapons nearby, Turkey and things like that. How many weapons do we have in Turkey? About 15, I believe. 15.
We will not prematurely or unnecessarily risk the course of worldwide nuclear war, but neither will we shrink from that risk at any time it must be faced. I call upon Chairman Khrushchev to halt and eliminate this clandestine, reckless, and provocative threat to world peace. He has an opportunity now to move the world back from the abyss of destruction.
they can actually hit the submarine without damage to the submarine. We both use those warning gun charges. The addicts with anti-submarine and the human monsters will be in the vicinity. Okay, let's see. Three ships are definitely turning back while the others will tunnel before they understand. If they expect others are going to indicate specific examinations back. Avalanche is making every effort now to get planes out of the area. Someday cruise ship told President Kennedy yesterday was North Pennsylvania from Cuba to United States Jewish rockets from Turkey. That wasn't in the letter we received, was it? I read it pretty carefully. There's one deal in the letter, now we got a different deal. How can we negotiate with somebody who changes the deal before we even get a chance to reply and announce it publicly the deal before we receive it? The U-2 was shot down. The fire against our surveillance shut down. Pilot killed. Our pilot's body is in flight. Well, this is much an escalation by them, isn't it? How do they interpret this? I don't know how to interpret it. They fired the first shot.
If you look at the history of this century, and you look at all those misjudgments which brought on war, and then you see the Soviet Union and the United States so far separated in their beliefs, and you put the nuclear equation into that struggle, one mistake can make this whole thing blow up. That's what makes this such a dangerous time that we must proceed with the firmness and also with the best information we can get, and also with care.
Yes, guys. So that was the film. Now we're heading back out in the main lobby. Where are you? You saw it already? Is every what? Plays every 20 minutes? 15. 15. You're doing your self-guided, you're not following it?
Any questions from the movie? I remember looking through those studies, so I remember.
Wow, look at those pens. Pen used by President Kennedy to sign the treaty, October 7, 1963. Wow. Amazing. Welcome in, you guys. Thank you for joining my live. As you join, double tap the screen to like the live. And also, if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe.
I think in the movie, I tell you that it was taken anywhere between going to the front desk to get this message and then right in the office.
You want to see this typewriter, guys? This typewriter was made in 1967. Wow.
Push button age for communications to take the time. So we decided instead to go to what was called the hotline. Well, type machine. It didn't even sit in the White House. It sat in the Pentagon. But it did speed up the communications, anywhere between 6 to 12 hours to get messages back and forth to Moscow in exchange. It wasn't until the 80s that it was upgraded from the teletype machine to a facsimile machine at the time, which is very remarkable. And it really wasn't until after the year 2000 that it was upgraded to a secure mail server, electronically connecting the two sites. So that's one of the enduring legacies. The second was, from the time Kennedy got into office, he was always very concerned about this proliferation of nuclear weapons, other countries, beyond just the United States and the Soviet Union. So he kept trying to convince Khrushchev that they needed to come to some agreement around nuclear weapons. They could never come to an agreement. They had this Vienna conference in Vienna that took place in June. Again, Kennedy went in to talk about nuclear weapons. Khrushchev went in to talk about Berlin. So they couldn't come to an agreement because Khrushchev really didn't want inspectors to come into the Soviet Union with their nuclear sites and inspect their weapons. What they did come to an agreement on was the testing of nuclear technology. So it took a little less than a year, but the two leaders, the two governments were able to come to an agreement on a limited test ban treaty. And the limited nature of the test ban is that it outlawed the testing of nuclear technologies in space, above ground, in the air, and underwater. So anywhere where nuclear fallout could cross over country boundaries to another country. The only area of testing that was not included in the agreement was underground testing, for much the same reason as nuclear weapons testing. And that was that it would have required in-country inspections, and Khrushchev did not want foreigners to come into the country to inspect. So it took almost a year. It was August of 1963 that a treaty was signed limiting the testing, so a limited nuclear test ban treaty. By the end of the year 1963, over 100 countries signed on to the agreement, so it became kind of the prevailing international law. The president, but his wife, Mrs. Kennedy, even after the president died, indicated that President Kennedy was as proud of this as any of the other legislation that he passed because he really did want to impact the spread of nuclear.
Speaking from the White
Questions? All right, let's lighten it up a bit and read through a statement.
Oh, what's this?
What do we have here? All right, so the Kennedys hosted something like 16 official state dinners during their less than 3 years running the office. So this is really a collection of state dinners, and so there isn't any one particular that's highlighted and that type of exhibit in the past. So this is sort of a collection of different state dinners are all included here with the photographs and with the video footage. Mrs. Kennedy is very involved in the hosting of these state dinners. Very detail oriented around who gets invited, where they sit, what food is going to be served, what kind of china and place settings there are, everything really about the details involved.
It is very
in
detailed.
putting together a state dinner. Miss Kennedy is very involved. So three traditions she really changed around state dinners. One is that traditionally state dinners were all served on long banquet tables. So you would come with whoever you were invited to come with, and you would sit at this big banquet table, and you'd be able to talk probably to the people in front of you, maybe people to the sides of you. But it was a very small number of people. Mrs. Kennedy, remember, she wanted to invite special guests, right? People that were accomplished and achievers in their fields from the United States, and the idea was for them to meet with these world leaders, get to know them, exchange ideas and thoughts, and at least get to know each other a little better. So one of the ways she decided to enhance that was she changed the seating from banquet tables to the very revolutionary idea of round tables. Start out anywhere between 6 and 8 guests would sit at a table, and she made sure that husbands and wives were assigned to separate tables. So they didn't spend the whole time talking to each other. Right? So, great idea. Everyone feels it. So the other couple of traditions was she allowed for smoking in the White House.
Oh, wow.
State dinners, and she also started to allow drinking to take place on some of these. So the gown in the room is one of the gowns Mrs. Kennedy wore for one of the state dinners. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of specificity to this. We had a gown before this that was.
She was given Michelle before Michelle.
A couple of things around Mrs. Kennedy was that is in fashion and loved fashion magazines. Very often she would get inspirations from fashion magazines, but she almost always went to U.S. designers to actually get the gown created for her for whatever the event was that she was planning on wearing it for. The other thing Mrs. Kennedy did was, for all of the gowns she wore, she decided to pay for those out of Kennedy family. This is brand new here. I think we have almost all of Mrs. Kennedy's gowns in our archives upstairs. We're only 2 or 3 out at any one time because and they've got to be rotated around because the lights are impact the fabric. So this is one of her gowns, one of the many gowns that we have at this image. Questions? All right, let's go over to the Attorney General's office.
They rotate her gowns. That's how thin she was very thin. She was very thin.
Somewhere where he was. No, I think I heard him
displays all over that's the only things that are non-original are the desk itself and the chair. Those are just here to help move on with that period. And everything else on the walls.
What's this? Courtney drew this? Was it one of the kids?
Maybe.
Oh, that's cute. Mm-hmm. Welcome in, you guys. Thank you for joining the live. As you join, double tap the screen to like the
Anybody that knows it.
the telephone.
He decides, he's very young, but he decides that he wants to he wants to turn the Justice Department a little more proactive in certain areas. So he works with Congress and with his team in a couple of the areas, issues that he decides to go after. One is juvenile delinquency. He works with the states to try to develop programs to break the cycle of juvenile delinquency. Referred to it now, where somebody gets arrested as a young adult, thrown in reform school or into jail, and when they come out, they aren't really not having any type of training on so he helped work with states to try to develop programs to break that kind of cycle. Other thing at the time is that there's a housing shortage. So housing is very expensive, and he decided to create programs, work with Congress to create programs to develop and make available lower cost housing, particularly for veterans. Veterans are having a particularly tough time. Two other issues. One is organized crime, the idea of organized crime, infiltrating labor unions. Robert Kennedy was a very strong supporter of labor and labor unions, and also trying to fight the idea of organized crime infiltrating, particularly the Teamsters Union, who the head at that time was Jimmy Hoffa. So there is many hearings, they had it in the introductory film, of many hearings where Robert Kennedy sits with congressional committees trying to expose the dishonesty and the use of union dues for the benefit of the leaders of the union. So there's lots of different court cases where he fights with Jimmy Hoffa. The other is civil rights. So in 1961, so again, very shortly after Kennedy takes the oath of office, James Merritt, who is a sophomore at Jackson State College in Jackson, Mississippi, decides that he wants to get his Bachelor of Arts. Legal under the NAACP at that time was headed by Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall decides this is a great case to take through the court system. Let's see how far we can go. In 1956, I think, is when Brown versus the Board of Education is passed, and so therefore there is nothing that should be preventing, based on race, a student from entering the University of Mississippi. It takes a little over a year for the case to make its way to the Supreme Court. Hugo Black writes the majority decision from the Supreme Court in August of 1962. And it indicates basically that the University of Mississippi has no legal standing to prevent Meredith from enrolling in the school. So in the days leading up to Meredith's enrollment, the governor of Mississippi at the time is Ross Barnett, and he spends a lot of time on the phone with Robert Kennedy in particular. In the video here is Robert Kennedy on telephone calls with Governor Barnett at the time. And Governor Barnett has decided to take an active position to prevent Meredith. So he goes on the radio, newspapers, television appearances. He appears at the University of Mississippi football games at halftime to take a very strong position indicating that he will not allow the University of Mississippi to break the race barrier. The Attorney General spends a lot of time on the phone and indicates to Barnett that as an executive in the office, he really shouldn't be in a position to prevent this from taking place. His job is to execute and support the law of the land. The Supreme Court has decided the law of the land is that Meredith should be enrolled. So they come to kind of a shaky agreement that Meredith, or that Barnett will provide the Alabama State Highway, or the Mississippi State Highway Patrol as some sort of safety potentially for Meredith to be able to come on the campus, but there's no real rules of engagement established. There's nothing that really makes it very solid. And Governor Barnett sort of wavers, even after President Kennedy talks to him a couple of times in the days leading up to it. The day that Meredith is due to enroll, a number of protesters come on campus. Some 3,000 protesters, and they are all trying to prevent Meredith from getting to the admissions. A riot actually breaks out. 300 people are injured.
Hey, Joe Lisa, thank you for joining my live. How are you?
One is a journalist from
Welcome in, welcome in. I'm here in the John F. Kennedy's Library and Museum here in Boston, Massachusetts. And yeah, we're just learning a lot of history about JFK. His early childhood, his presidency, and what he stood for, what he fought for. So yeah, it's more history today, Jolisa. Oh, Keisha, you're still here. Thank you for still being here. And yes, so we're still here learning. We have a tour guide. And we're just doing some free, just looking around, seeing all the history here in Boston. We have a big group. It's a big group of us, so we're trying to single file out. You have to be careful all of that. Oh, she's outside.
You have every information.
Look at one of her dresses. Look, isn't this beautiful? Let me tell you what it's made from. It is evening dress in black silk velvet and Chinese yellow silk satin, worn by Jacqueline Kennedy to the state dinner honoring President Manuel Prado of Peru. Yeah, so this is the exact dress that she wore. They said they have all the dresses she wears to the state dinners here in the library, in the archives. But they have to alternate them, like rotate them out, because the lighting somehow messes with the texture and the color of the dress. This is how the dinner placings were. Pretty cool, right? And then she always had round tables where she had, she said no husband and wife sat together. Because she didn't want everybody to talk to themselves, but look, pretty cool. Look at this is another one of her gowns she wore. Oh, this one has
Scholarship, impeccable academic. They actually are accepted. However, the governor at the time, George Wallace, he has decided that he's going to take active, but also very personal so he goes again, much the same as Barnett, he goes out on the radio, on television, and he actually makes the commitment that he will go down to the schoolhouse door to prevent the students from being able to get access to the admissions office.
She was a classic chick, right, Keisha? And I love it.
And the Justice Department in preparation, bring a large contingent as well. And it looks like
She was given Michelle Obama before Michelle Obama.
preparation though for this, from the experience that they have learned from the University of Mississippi, the president federalizes a National Guard unit from Alabama. And the hero of the day is the Brigadier General in charge of this unit from Alabama, Brigadier General Henry Graham. Henry Graham was born and bred in Alabama, served his entire career representing the National Guard of Alabama. When this confrontation looks like it's going to take place,
She did bear arms, yes, that's the same thing I said
Brigadier
too.
General goes up to George Wallace, introduces himself, says something along the lines of, "I am the Brigadier General in charge of this unit. The Commander-in-Chief has given me explicit offers to ensure the safety of these two students to be able to get to the admissions office, and I fully intend to carry out my duties." With that, Governor Wallace really doesn't have much of a leg to stand on. He's got no real support now at this point in time, and he kind of quietly exits. Two students, Vivian Malone and James Hood, are able to get to the admissions office, and they are able to enroll in the University of Alabama. Vivian Malone does do her 4 years at the University of Alabama and becomes the first black student to graduate. James Hood, who also had applied, had to drop out somewhere around the end of the first year. But he did go back for personal reasons and for family reasons. But he does go back eventually and gets his master's degree. That night, though, the night of the enrollment, President Kennedy is urged by his brother and others in the Justice Department, they need to go out and make a statement about the civil rights movement. So the desk is set up. It's very clear and often, not because President Kennedy was particularly angry, but it was to prepare for this national presentation to the country. And during this 8 or 9 minute speech, he actually equates the civil rights movement as a moral issue facing the American people. And so it's a very articulate statement that and logic that he appeals to American voters to indicate how would you feel if the tables were turned and you were put into the position. Martin Luther King, who was very critical of Kennedy with the speed with which he moved on civil rights issues during his first term in office, actually did indicate that he thought that this was one of the most important and consequential presentations that any president had ever given in support of the civil rights movement.
That's great.
So take a look at when you're setting up your place. Excuse me.
That's really good. A lot of good stuff, a lot of great information. A lot of good information here that I personally didn't know about. Yes, I was not born here in the Americas. I came here when I was 14 from Jamaica. However, it's good to know the history and the culture. It's amazing. I love it.
Brad, questions? Trying to do this quickly. We've got really 3 more readers, but fairly quick.
Sorry.
So when Mrs. Kennedy comes into the White
Oh,
House
Jacqueline
as
Kennedy
First
won the
Lady,
Trustees
she's only
Award.
32 years old,
Pretty
so she's
cool.
one of the youngest, I think about 32 years old. I can't imagine running the White House. When she came in, and
32 years old as
yeah,
a
like lots of first ladies, she
president,
decides to
first
take up an
lady.
issue.
Wow.
And in a program, and the program she decides to take up is a restoration of the White House. And so, when she was
Restoration of the White House.
Restoration of the White House. It's called the White House Restoration Project. A little bit of the background of the story was that when she had visited the White House when she was a young girl, she had noted how important it looked and how interesting it was. But when she got there as the First Lady, there had been a lot of construction, there was a lot of movement of furniture. And they also found that there were items that had been taken from the White House. Occupants of the White House were not restrained from taking souvenirs, I guess, as they left. And so there's furniture that's missing, there's little rugs and there's lamps and other items. So she decides that she wants to take up an effort to try and bring the White House back to looking like it is a seat of power for the United States. And so she gets together with another wealthy friend of theirs from the DuPont family, and the two of them form this committee, the Restoration Committee. And the idea was that it's privately funded, so it's not money from Congress, where they're going to go around the country, letters, phone calls, visits, do whatever they can do to encourage people to send back to them, voluntarily send back to them, furniture and items that belong to the White House. So
Souvenir.
that's right, return some of the souvenirs. What's the intrinsic value of this ashtray anyway? So Mrs. Kennedy is very involved as she gets into these programs. She's very detail oriented. She understood all of the different phases the White House was built in, how each of the rooms were used. And so when the furniture was sent into Washington, they had a warehouse where she would catalog what came in and what room it would go into. She was very aware and very hands-on about the effort as it took place. So because it's privately funded and not coming from congressional budget, taxpayer dollars, they needed to figure out ways to raise funds. And so they certainly sent out lots of letters asking for donations, but one of the things they did to make attention, or bring attention to the project, was Mrs. Kennedy agreed with CBS News to do a documentary. 2-hour documentary on this effort. It's simulcast on all 3 stations, ABC, NBC, as well as CBS. At that time, it's 2 hours long, and for her efforts, as you probably often know, she's not very comfortable in front of the camera. She didn't like to be the center of attention. But for her efforts, she gets an honorary Emmy Award.
Oh, she did.
By the end of the year in 1961,
The Trustees
first year
Award.
in office, she had worked with Congress and they were able to get passed a bill designating the White House as a licensed museum with a curator and everything. So occupants from that point forward, if they wanted to borrow something from the White House, had to request from the curator, and they would give them like a library book on loan for some period of time.
Not the borrow.
Interesting.
Going around.
You probably
Those are actual doors from Mrs. Kennedy's closet in the White House.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Nice.
Come on in. So I didn't know a lot about Jacqueline Bouvier until I took this job. But I knew that she had grown up, in Manhattan,
Bouvier.
a wealthy family, ties to the Hamptons, second marriage from her mother to a wealthy businessman up in Newport, Rhode Island. So I knew she came from a privileged family. Mrs. Jackie Kennedy. I'll refer to her as Mrs. Kennedy out of sign of respect since she and I were best friends. So much of what's included here is her. She went to private schools, as you would imagine, private grade schools and high schools. So a lot of this is writing samples. She was very adept at writing poetry and then writing essays. So a lot of this is sample works of hers that are. This over here is a watercolor painting she did also in the so she really did have a good tone. When she graduated from high school, 1947, I think is the first year, she goes to Vassar College, graduates from Vassar, and her second year she goes overseas to the University of Grenoble. Her junior year she spends at the Sorbonne in Paris, but she decides she wants to get her Bachelor of Arts degree from American University, comes back and gets her Bachelor of Arts in French Literature from George Washington University. So one of the stories I like to tell about her, just so you get some senses, as a college senior, she's trying to decide what career she wants to pursue, and she feels like she wants to be a writer of some kind. And so she decides to enter into an essay contest that is sponsored by Vogue magazine, Prix des Paris. The idea is that it's an essay contest. The winner of the essay contest will get a one-year internship at Vogue magazine, 6 months in Washington, D.C., 6 months in Paris, France. 1,300 essays are submitted. Jacqueline Bouvier ends up winning. That's pretty impressive in itself. On the day that she starts her first day, she goes into the office in Washington, D.C.
Welcome in, you guys. Thank you for joining my live.
Vogue magazine and says something along the lines of, "Thank you so much. I'm so honored to receive this award. However, I'm unable to accept this honor." And the story goes that she and her mother had a number of conversations in the days leading up. Her mother was very concerned that if Jacqueline ended up taking the internship, she would spend 6 months in Paris, and there was a good chance she wouldn't come home. And so, this was in a time when there were lots of flights between the continents. So her mother was afraid she wasn't going to see her. So Jacqueline decides not to take that job, and instead she goes to work for the Washington Times newspaper. She becomes the inquiring cameraman. She has a column that she writes every day, 6 days a week for $25 a week, where she has to go out and interview anybody who will talk to her, I think, on the streets in Washington about events that are taking place, visitors that are coming in, issues, and that's
Welcome in, Farmer. How are you? Welcome in. Thank you for joining my live. Farmer Josie is saying hello. Double tap your screen. Thank you for joining my live. As you join, just double tap and subscribe if you choose to do so. And also, there's a poll below, guys. Go ahead and fill out the poll. Let me know. Farmer Josie, can you double tap the screen to like the live? Or you could just go ahead and click on those three dots and like the live, please. Thank you. Farmer Josie saying hello to Lisa and Keisha. November 22.
Dallas, Texas, a flash currently official for President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Oh no.
Eastern Standard Time. 38 minutes ago. Vice President Johnson has left the hospital in Dallas, but we do not know to where he has proceeded. Presumably, he will be taking the oath of office shortly and become the 36th President of the United States.
Yes, thank you, Keisha. Thank you for joining. Thank you for supporting. I will see you next time. Thank you. We're almost at the end of the museum tour, you guys. This is the part where they show us where John F. Kennedy passed away. November 22nd, 1963. Yeah.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at
This is
President
when they
Kennedy
assassinated
in
him.
downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
Oh, this is when he was assassinated. Thank you for the likes, you guys.
More details just arrived. United Press says that the wounds for President Kennedy perhaps could be fatal. Repeating, President Kennedy has been shot by a would-be assassin in Dallas, Texas. From Dallas, Texas, the Central Standard
There's one in Jersey too. I just saw that one here. And Tampa, Florida. Yeah. And he has a lot. Welcome in, you guys. Thank you for joining my live. As you join, double tap the screen to like the live and enjoy a little bit of history here.
Profiles in political organizations to be organized by this library to a politician.
Oh, he said, ask not what your country can do for you. Oh, ask what you can do for your country. Believe that a democracy thrives only when citizens contribute their talents to the common good, and that it is was its job as a president mobilizing. Oh, wow, interesting. Wow, didn't know this.
Thank you all very much for having me here. I had a couple of good stories and great questions, so I appreciate all of the engagement. Just to let you know, there is an exhibit across the hall, it's a special exhibit around World War II, what families were facing in this country around World War II. There are some Kennedy exhibits, but it's not really particularly Kennedy-centered. But you are welcome to go to know in there. And then you are also welcome to spend time in any exhibit in the world. So thank you all very much, and I hope you enjoyed your stay and safe travels on your next visit.
Thank you. Woo! Wow. A lot of history. A lot of history here. So yes, you guys, we have come to the end of our tour, our museum tour. I hope you enjoy a little bit of history here at the JFK Library and JFK Presidential Library and Museum. Bye. This is my guy.